Okay, first hose boom. This is just a trial fitting because what I had envisaged is I might have to bend the bottom down on each one for it to be 90 degrees. Just trying to work out a suitable height. I'm thinking that may be reasonably close. If I go too low, it's too low. So, because I still want to make sure it's not anywhere near animal height, because that will not move, as opposed to these ones that move. So, and you also want it high enough that you can get machinery under it without running into it. Whether that's, I doubt that's tractor height, but when I'm cutting beside the irrigator, I'll have to be moving the irrigator anyway. So at that present height there, the angle for 90 degrees, that's at 98 degrees. So it is bugger all. And if I went up a little bit more, then it would be even less. So I'm kind of thinking, don't bother bending them, rebending them. I'll just put them together and then I can just put them up. Yeah, so that's sort of where we're at on that trial fitting. So now I guess I can put them together properly and then bring them down and try putting them up. Right, so that's that. Right, I'm leaning to actually putting them almost in vertical or horizontal, sorry, to give a full 90. The ones closest to the tower, like those particular two inner ones, because they're part circle rotator sprinklers, which I'll show you what that means later on. They don't have to be angled directly backwards either. I can slightly rotate them off to the side facing this direction. That way, if the wind's blowing, it's tending not to blow it back to the wheel tracks, but fuck me, you can only do what you can do. But at least at that height, should well and truly clear the Massey. So at least I can, if I'm cutting up beside the pivot, I should be able to come back on that inner row under the hose booms without hitting any. So I think that's what we'll do, is just stick them in at bloody near vertical, near horizontal, sorry. And yeah, because I don't think there's anything to be gained by having them down around about ladder height. The other issue you have there too is the hydraulic lines. That run right up the centre of the span. There is only so far. Look, it's alright, these very end ones, because the hydraulic line sort of drops down a bit to go under the towers, but back there they're very close to the pipe, so you could only rotate the bloody hose boom so far before you hit that pipe anyway. When you look at it, but I do suppose, although that one there could be a pain in the arse, we'll have to see how we go with that one. Should be able to do it, hopefully. But anyway, I suppose they should fit under because you're not doing the ones right over the span. So, but it's still better up there, out of the way of machinery, out of the way of animals. Because even if I bring it down to that height, somewhere there, you're only gaining a couple of feet from there to there, and you run the risk of some clown cleaning them all up, and you run the risk of them being high enough that cattle, or low enough that cattle can reach up, and because they're all fixed and there's no give in them, the potential for them to snap fucking things off. So I'm not having that. So I think that height, I haven't measured it, but it's got to be 3 metres at least. So I think that'll work. We'll just have to work on that. Okie dokie. Rightio, that's a semi pre-assembled hose boom. Doesn't quite need the star post on top, but what I am doing is that trial placement. I don't know whether you can pick up in the earlier on in the video, but there is a fair amount of sort of flex, droopage, flex in the length of the boom when it's in the air, even though it's got this brace here. To me, this brace is nowhere near long enough. Instead of being braced there, it should be braced at least somewhere out there. That would give it a lot more rigidity. Just worried about the durability of them over the lifespan. I'd like to, and that's especially with nothing going through the damn thing at the moment. For me, I would like to see that as straight as possible, given that when you've got water flowing through it, and we all know that water weighs X amount. Now between that and wind and the lifespan of it just being thin gal bloody, I wouldn't even really call it pipe. It's very, very light gauge. Not exactly that much better than a fucking TV aerial antenna or a clothesline. So what I shall do, what I think I will do, is get a bit of gal flat. Weld a bit over 600 on. Make it about 650. That gets to about where the tape measure is, onto the top of that bracket. Probably put an exhaust clamp on that end and weld an eyelet of some description onto that, and we'll just run a fine bit of 2 or 3 mil stainless steel wire cable from there to there with a turnbuckle somewhere up here that I can just tighten it up, and that will take all the flex, the droop out of this away. It won't be that ridiculous. It'll just save this sort of, in the wind, having any harmonic effect that could fracture that pipe of any description, because we all know if it's going to break, it's just going to fucking bend somewhere around here. So anyway, as I said, this is a pre-assembled one up till this point. It's got the side force regulator in the end. I'll put that in. Hose up the other end, so it's sort of kind of ready to go. And then on the end of it, we'll put a part circle sprinkler. Now, unfortunately, you have to buy the whole entire sprinkler end. They don't just sell the part circle piece, unfortunately, because basically, bear with me, that is the only bit I need. Don't need the rest of it, but they won't sell it to you without that. So that needs to go in the original sprinkler package. Now, if you look down the end of it, what you see is that rather than water running the full length or the full width, it's only has water this side. So you set it up with the right hand side would be facing the irrigator away from the wheel tracks. So the water will only come down the front, which means that it only goes to the front part of the sprinkler. So instead of water sprinkling out the whole lot, it will only be hitting this side and going out in that direction. That's basically how you get a part circle sprinkler. Otherwise, if the water was going all the way in, it's hitting every one of those parts of the plate, because that rotates with the water. So that is how that will work. So I need a heap of them, go on the end of them, and then just change those over with my existing ones, because no doubt they are different plates and different rates and different sprinkler patterns. So that's where we're up to at the moment. So we will keep assembling. Like I said, the reason why I decided to buy rather than build, that is 16 foot long. The ones I was going to make were only, probably would have been 20 foot, full length of gal pipe, of which you have to put a bend on the end anyway. So there is very little to be gained by doing that. I would have made my braces longer, and I had got those brackets from Eagle Eye anyway, so I would have extended those up there and braced that further back if I was doing it. So I'm still going to be doing that anyway. But this is pretty much everything here is what comes with the hose boom kit, except you get all the fittings. You get the side force, well, you get the sprinkler connector, which is a side force regulator, which with that little plate there is how that works. Because if this, when you do this up tight, if that's not quite right, you just undo the hose clamp a bit and you can rotate that so that your sprinkler ends up in the right position, rather than being that way. You can rotate it to that direction however you need to do it. So you get all your clamps, your hose clamps, the elbow for the top of the irrigator, there's a joiner there in case you were just doing a straight hose drop off of the end. Nuts and bolts, U-bolts. There's those pinch clamps as well, which I didn't have the tool, so I bought a bloody kit so I can use them and use whatever's in the kit now. So it kind of wasn't worth making one. And you get all the hose too. The other thing too, you got to try and, if I was to make one, then you got to try and get the hose up the bloody thing, having limited amount of space inside. So this comes pre-assembled with the hose already in it. So when you take into consideration 16, 17, you've probably got 18 foot of hose as well. Plus the joining section of hose, that curved bit which joins onto the barb to go into the irrigator, those ones over there. So all of that comes with it. So when you think about it, for the cost of one of these compared to buying gal pipe, buying the hose, buying the clamps, buying all the bits and pieces, still not getting the side force regulator as well. Yeah. Plus the fact of then you've got to sit down and spend extra time making them as well. So kind of decided easier just to buy them. They're not that dear. Hose boom like this, I think it was about $360 $60 or $70 for the complete unit. A length of fucking gal pipe's about $90. So you'd be looking at 1.5 lengths at least, plus a bracket, plus all the bits and pieces. So as far as I'm concerned, there's bugger all in it. And adding those bits on up there when I do that, hopefully that just extends the life of it and makes it how it should have been done in the first place. But only time will tell, I suppose. Right, so that's what we're up to today. We'll get all these put together, we'll try to. That's how they come. Packaged up from Nelson. A couple of boxes, it's all strapped together, just on a bitzer of a pellet, which just fits over both sides of the hurdles on the tray on the ute. So what have we got in there? I think there's nine more in there. Yeah. So I'll whack all them together and order the bits for there, and then I can go from there. Rightio. Righto. Got them all put together in a sort of fashion. They're the extensions that will go on top, turnbuckles, down this end clamp with a bit of stainless chain on it. And what I intend to do is run a bit of stainless wire rope between the two. That will take the flex out of that. Right. Big shout out to the motherfucker, that fucking apprentice bloody work experience kid that fucking packaged that up. For fuck's sake. How much fucking tape can you put on a fucking roll of cable, you dickhead? Anyway, it's probably going to take me half a day just to get that fucking shit off. So, slowly getting there. New high bay lights work quite well. LEDs. Nice and bright in here now. Instant on, instant off, so can't ask for more than that. So yeah, we're getting there. I've got 4 spans up. Remove that drop, take the hoop out, screw the fitting in, boom back on with the brackets. They're up, but I cannot, for the time being, put the wire rope up because the swaging clamps that they sent were too small for the actual wire rope. So I'm waiting on 3.5mm ones to turn up to suit the 3.2mm, because 3.0mm crimps is impossible to get a 3.2mm stainless steel wire rope through. It's virtually impossible to get it through once, let alone loop it back around and through for a second time. So they're fairly easy to unscrew. Don't know what happened there. Obviously pressed something. This one can be a little bit. Oh, that one's going to come out. Some come out easily, some don't. Just like some of the fittings thread in easily and some don't. So, got to screw that in. I'll just have to put a bit of thread tape on it. Right. Bit of an effort, but especially threading it all under the hydraulic lines. This one's actually not too bad compared to some of the others. This is all over the place, this bloody video, but look, it is slightly difficult to hold a phone one-handed and try to get that and that on. So one's up. So I can do this one-handed. Right, it's on. Line's on too, went on this morning. 0 wind. Lime and gypsum's on. So I just need to work that in. Hopefully tomorrow, maybe. So I can start on it anyway. But yeah, getting there slowly. Now, need to remove the sprinkler off the drop. Sprinkler in. Left hand side. Anyway, that goes in between there. Do that, screw that on the end. May or may not come off. Well, that didn't quite go so well, but anyway. so easy to do one-handed. Part circle adapter in between. Once again, not the easiest thing one-handed. Make sure that that hole there, you can see it, there's a hole there, it's to the back. Slight tighten. Right, so that one's on. Now, there'll be a clamp going there, and that will run, the wire rope will run up to the turnbuckle, and that will just take the play out of these, stop them carrying on in the wind. So 4 more to go.